Welcome everybody, welcome back. In 2022, our, what would it be, 44th webinar this time. And we have as our guest, Krzysztof, who's going to talk about telemetry. And as you might remember when you subscribe to this or registered for this, that it's going to be about the benefits. It's relevant, becoming more and more relevant to many of us. Gert Hector did promote also this webinar on LinkedIn, and I thanked him for that, and I said, yeah, next to test-driven or to test automation, this is one of the next things we need to get as a standard part of our toolbox, because this is going to help us a lot in many ways. But I'll leave it to Krzysztof to give a better introduction. Very welcome to you, Krzysztof. Thanks for well, being able to do this. Looking forward to what you're going to tell. But before I'm going to hand over to you, of course, welcome to everybody around the world. People still getting into the room. We got a big number of registrations for today, so looking forward to everybody joining in. Before we're going to get Krzysztof talking about telemetry, some housekeeping rules, as you might know. For the new ones, your mic is not available, it's muted, but anything you want to ask, make use of the questions window, and I'm going to pick it up. I will be the moderator of today. My name is Luc van Vugt, and I had just agreed with Krzysztof that I will pick up the questions in the sense that I will post them as soon as they are posted, and that they are well, relevant to the situation or the context. I'm just seeing, I'm hoping not displaying my mail anymore. I was watching to the question window, but I guess I'm displaying my presentation.
All good.
Sorry?
All good, you're saying everything well.
Thank you very much. As you know, everything will be recorded and will be placed on YouTube. We have now more than 600 subscribers, but spread the word and get everybody subscribing to our channel. If you're not yet subscribed to our newsletter, use this URL. It's not very descriptive, but it's short enough maybe to recall, surely from the recording. And of course, looking ahead, I've been very lucky in finding a number of speakers with topics. Michael Nielsen from Fornav will talk about the background of what the new tool they built to be able to track and trace your code and get it into Azure DevOps. He will talk about anything behind that on February 1st. Arjan will be again one of our speakers, and on February 15th we will talk about working with XML and AL. Waldo will talk about the AL patterns and guidelines initiative that was started, what was it, in November already, around that time, where Arjan joined in, and Henrik and Jeremy too. And on the March 15th, Stefano Demiliani will talk about working with files in BC when you're on SaaS. There is no file system then, but still you would like to work with files. So, and of course, every time again, if you have a topic, be welcome to join as a speaker. If you're experienced or not, of course, a lot of experienced speakers join in, but this is also a platform for everybody that wants to start becoming a speaker. And I will be glad to help you, to coach you on that, to have meetings before that or whatever. So don't let it hold you back. It's not about doing perfect presentations. That's of course always what we think we need to do, but it's more important that we share information like Krzysztof is going to do today. Last slide, as tradition, always to thank our sponsor Fornav, and more or less an anchor point where I'm going to hand over to the speaker. So Krzysztof, I'm going to make you presenter.
Thank you.
And it's up to you to share your screen.
Let me just go and see you can see the presentation now.
Yes, I can see the presentation, and your sound is loud and clear. So I'm going to mute my microphone. Have a lot of fun, Krzysztof, and of course I will step in with questions and whatever needed.
Thank you. Thank you, Luc, and great that you said that the presentation doesn't need to be perfect. Already feeling better. So welcome everybody from my side. This time I will talk about the telemetry, and as Luc said, I will also talk about the benefits, not only about the troubleshooting. However, I will just have a few slides about that as well. My name is Krzysztof Bialowas. I'm Microsoft MVP for business application, but I'm also, which is quite important here, I'm working for the ISV, and we really think about the telemetry there. And I also would like to show you things which are working for me on daily basis. So this is not something which I just invented for the webinar, but something which we're working every day. And hopefully you will understand if I will present some real data as well. So just that from my side for the beginning, but also would like to tell you what I would like to show you today. So let's start from the basics. I know that only 30% of, and I hope this number changed, but that was the last which I had, partners are using telemetry. So just to help you also to understand how to easily set the telemetry setup is, I wanted to show you that, but also I would like to show you what is all about the telemetry. And then the two words which sometimes go together, sometimes little apart, and telemetry for ISVs and VARs. So want to show you what are the limitations as well and what you need to think. So also the tools which I'm using and what we can have benefits from business side using the telemetry, right? What questions we can answer with the telemetry. So I hope you will enjoy that. So the first, what is the telemetry? And you see the definition, but I also want to say my little experience when I learned about the telemetry. It was on Directions 2019, I think, when Vincent was showing things about the telemetry, and the first thing what I was told there is, wow, that's great. That's something which we really need to help in a lot of places, and how we can do more to get know more about the customers. Not only how we can fix something because of telemetry, but how we can help our customers in that, how we can build a better product that we will be able to see from telemetry what we should improve. So that was the first time when we talked about the telemetry for Business Central, and since then a lot of things changed and happened. But why we need telemetry? So from the definition, you will see that we can have it for 5 different areas. We can improve customer experience, and that's something which I really would like to show you. Monitor security, also we have it in Business Central telemetry. Monitor application health, yes, and monitor quality and monitor performance. So this is all the aspects where you can see the telemetry as valuable for your company. But if we will little go higher, I'm trying to explain always that we can divide what we get in Business Central for 2 ways. One is a troubleshooting, and one is a business values which can give. And why I really like to talk about the business value, because you know, troubleshooting, that's something which we know from ages when we are doing with Business Central and NAV. We now have tools which allows us to do it better and much faster, but we still were doing that. So all people which were deciding what we should do as a developers, why we should invest time in something, And trust me, telemetry is something which is behind the scenes. So it's really hard to put the measure how much we get benefits from that. Is the business value. So what we can do to improve our software, what we can do to be better for the customers and have much happier customers, right? So this is why I also said today on the Twitter is not, this session is not only for the developers. Of course, I will show some code, but it's also for people which need to see why we really need it, what we can get from it. And probably you will see the questions which I have later, that there are common questions which you also have in the company. So first things first, a little basic. So what is the tool which we are using for the telemetry? It's called Application Insight. It's part of Azure Monitor, so you can find it in Azure. And we using custom query language. Probably you heard it before, but this is the structure of the language where syntax which we use to get the data from the telemetry. And 5 gigabytes per month is free of using it. So if you don't have a very big extension which doing a lot of connections and so on, that will be enough for you. You don't need to spend even $1 for that. And the second is that the data there is stored for 90 days. It's not 100% accurate, but I will tell you about this a little later. So how to do this setup easily in the system? There are 2 options. One is for VARs, and this is where VARs can put instrumental key to admin center, right? And after that, you immediately will get the signals to the telemetry. The second one, when we are doing some ESV project, or we also can use it for the PT. So it's not only for the apps on app source, right? You can just get that in your app JSON, the connection string, and that also will automatically send you the telemetry. So it will also send you the telemetry when you are doing only on the sandboxes, or when you're doing it, sorry, from Docker container. So have it on mind as well, right? So how the language look like? Let me just open very quickly some very short query. So I can just query all the telemetry signals, which are for the event ID 16, which is related to uninstall the app. As you can see, I have them quite a lot. I didn't install it anything today, but I have quite a lot of data. And one thing which is something which you know as a basics, most of the things related to Business Central are in the custom dimension. So you will see here tenant ID, you will see environment name, event type, and so on. Right? So all the data you can find in the custom dimension, those which you would like to get. So few words about the troubleshooting, and I really think those 2 repositories, or one repository and one blog, you will find a lot of information about how to work with the troubleshooting, right? So I really encourage you to go to Microsoft repository, where you will find that Kenny, and sorry, it's very hard for me to pronounce his surname, is doing a great job about documentation, about the examples of the queries and all that what is related to telemetry, right? This is really big source of information, and you also will find a lot of nice article about the telemetry on Stefano's blog as well. So but just to give you an overview, which signals you can use for troubleshooting. And you can see that on the VAR, for VARs is a lot of things for troubleshooting. For ESV, it's little less, I would say, but it's also enough at this moment. I know that we will get some new. The one with the dot, app source submission validation, is only for ESVs. And this one, I didn't just put a additional column, but this is only for ESVs. And so all the issues which you have with the validation, but also your successful validation, you will also see in the telemetry with all the errors. And trust me, it's very valuable about the troubleshooting. I found it last week why my app was failing validation, and I would never find it if I would have only one message from Microsoft. I really needed to dig into telemetry to get it. But you can see also that we have long-running queries, we have long-running operations on SQL side. So everything of that will help us to do, serve better to the customer, to see how the performance should look like, improve that performance. And also one thing which I will show you today is a job queue telemetry, which you also can use for connecting, communicating with your customer, or even finding the issue faster than your customer found it. Right? So one quote from the person with whom I'm talking a lot about the telemetry, and Ulrich, we work together. Ulrich is the director in my company, and the biggest challenge which we and I agree with that a lot, is the biggest challenge which we have as a ESV, which we have apps on app source, is not to install the apps. In fact, it's like how to keep the customers, how to keep them that they want to use it, and to show them that what they need to do next. And this is where we see the value of the telemetry. I will go to this in a second. So there are a few questions which we, and if you are the ESV, probably also have, is you want to know which customer have your app, or even apps which you have, right? So can we offer them more apps if you have a solution which, for example, have 5 or more apps, right? We would like to see if the customer set up the solution, right? And what is the status of onboarding? Remember, not this is what I'm always saying, with app source, we are little blind. We don't know who installed the solution, right? We don't know what he is doing at this moment. Probably it may be that we are sleeping and he is just doing the installation and setup of the system, right? So how we can know about it, right? What we can do to know about it. So the next is what if customers using the app, we also would like to know it. And do they use some features which we have in the in our paid plan, but in our app, right? So can we offer them something more, right? Can we see that if they really want to invest time and money for the new features, and we think that it will be useful for them? And also, do we have any development opportunities, right? Because if our customers using some app and some special functionality in this app, imagine that you can think of that, okay, this is the place where we should invest. Maybe the other place is not so important. So, and the most important at the end is if we see any reasons that customer don't want to use the app anymore. Remember that a lot of apps in App Source are subscription based. So it's now very easy. Okay, 1 year they use it, and next year they don't use it because they say there is no value, right? Or even every month. It depends on the each app and model which you have for the payment. So those are the questions which you can have, and of course, probably you know what is the answer for the questions, how we can get this data. It's a telemetry, but for that, little later. But VARs has also questions, right? And not only, okay, we finish customer implementation, let's go to another one. But what we can do to sell them more services, right? And do they use some areas which we didn't discuss with them, right? Maybe do we design the processes well, and they are still using them, or maybe they abandon them and they don't use them, right? So, and maybe let's imagine a situation that customer is heavily using the functionality of correction of sales order. Maybe we have some development opportunity there, which we can sell to the customer to say, look, if we will do something, you will spend less time on this process, and that's what you will have time for something else, right? So that's all the questions which you can have when you are the VAR, which you would like to talk with the customer and do something more for them, right? So there are a few signals which I'm using personally to learn about that, to improve the customer experience, right? So one is the extension lifecycle. The second is page views and report generation. But also if we're using the web services, so incoming and outgoing web services. And we also have something which you can develop. Two things which I will show you: customer telemetry signals, but also customer usage of feature. So those are two things which we can do. And now a little about the limitations, because if we know limitations for telemetry, we can see what we can do later about this. So the first thing is 90-day retention policy. So if we want to know who is using our software, probably 90 days will not be enough, right? So we need to find the way to get the data in some other place. And why I said also it's not 100% correct that it's 90 days. You can use the workspaces, and all the telemetry will be copied to the log analytics, I think, and then you can change the retention policy to 3 years, I think, which probably is already okay for most of us. The second thing which we have is that we don't have any name of the customer, right? I will go back for a second to this trace which I showed you. You cannot see any customer name here, right? For the install, this one is for the install or uninstall. It doesn't matter. It's look exactly the same, almost. You will only see the tenant ID. This is my tenant ID. But what you will see is environment name and environment type. In some of the signals, most of them, you also will see the company name, but not for the install and uninstalls. So that's something which for me was the biggest challenge, because we somehow needed to map our customers' names with the telemetry signals with the tenant ID. So there are a few options and tricks how you can do it. You can have some registration of the app inside Business Central before the using. This is, for example, what we have. Or you can just know this data from your CRM if you have something, right? If you know that if you more working with the customers, those which you know, but you can be sure that someone will install the app and you will not know who it is, right? So you need to somehow prevent that. You will also not see the username. And that's true at this moment, and it will be true in the future. But for the ESV, never you will know the username. But for VARs, there will be some, as I know, that there will be some, let's say, ideas how to match the username. However, what I know, username is a GDPR data. So this is the general rule in the telemetry, in the standard Business Central telemetry. You will not see any data related to GDPR. You also will not see error messages. And that's the same reason, because it may have the GDPR information, and that's something which cannot be sent to telemetry. Of course, there are some error messages which we see, like, for example, when we fail the installation of the app and so on, but not inside Business Central itself. I would put also the poor visualization. That's something which I heard a lot from few partners, together with complicated syntax and connection from outside. I heard, and I also read it, that application inside telemetry is only for developers, only for those which has access to application inside. And that's generally true, but you can do something to extract the data, and then you will give it to someone else. So that's also something which I needed to face, and that's why I'm also telling you that. And two related things. One is that the cost can be high. And last week I had a talk with one person, and I was surprised how many data customer can have. And that's because you cannot filter the signals, at least at this moment. So you will get everything. You either getting telemetry or you don't get telemetry. However, and I said that I will mention him. So AJ Kaufman has a great idea how you can filter the signals, but I think he will write about this in near future, I hope, at least, because it's a really great and opening a lot of options for all of us. So I said 90-day policy. So what we can do with that, and what I would do if I would need to do it very good way. So when we have application inside, one per day or one per week, but probably per day, I would send data to Azure Data Factory, which will send it to some database, and that's what I try to do, in fact. However, I had quite a lot of problems with Azure Data Factory and Azure Storage Table connection, and that's because of my problems, which I have because I'm not a super hyper user of Azure Data Factory. So what I did, and for my cases it's useful and working very fine, I use Power Automate for that. So the flow which I will show you in a second, taking the data from application inside, sending it through Power Automate, and send it to Azure Storage Table. So with the data which I need to work a little more, I'm just sending this data through those three things. And the second, because I already have everything in Azure Storage Table, I can also use Power BI. I could also do it together with application inside, but to be honest, that's a little harder for the basic user of Power BI. So you need to export something to the text, then import something to Power BI, And when I have everything in Azure table, storage table, I can just put the key and name, and that's all. Everything works. So the first problem which I told you is who has our apps. So what we know that someone installed the app, someone upgrade the app, or someone uninstalled the app, right? And we can also know where the apps are installed. So as I said, we can set that it is on the this environment, this type of the environment. But we also know which version of the app customer has, right? Which is quite important because we know that the apps are not automatically upgraded between the builds. So between the versions of Business Central. So you can use it also to talk with your customers and see if they are upgrading your apps or not. So what we don't know, this is what I said, that we don't know who has installed like a real customer, and this is what we need to little fix. So let's go to the demo, and you can get all the data related to, maybe I have already it here. So we can get all the data related to the install, uninstalls, and so on from our application inside. So you can see the my publish, installation, compilation, and uninstalls, and so on. But I don't want to get all the data here. I would like to get them to Power BI. So what I'm using for that, I'm using the Power Automate. And let me just show you this Power Automate. So one thing which I'm doing in this Power Automate, the first thing is that I really don't care about the Docker containers, right? I just try to filter those tenants IDs. The second thing, I want to send only those 3 messages, so I don't want to send it more. And at the end, I have also some table which I would like to update with the mapping between customer and tenant ID. Right, so I'm running the query. If I have some data, I'm getting this data to my table in Azure storage table. So let's test this one. Right, we will see if we have any new signals. Oh, that was quick. So, few seconds. Okay, something happened. We sent some data. So we sent three signals. So I hope you will now see my Azure Storage Explorer. And I have 2 tables. The one is the customer tenant ID. And this is where I store all my customers. So I have a tenant ID and I have my customer name, right? But I also have a table which is called extension log cycle. And if I will refresh this one, we will see some data. Let me see if we have any new things. Yes, we have some information. We also have information about the version and so on. So you can see all of that. But of course, that's the rough table. So what we can do with that? If we will go to Power BI, the first thing which I can see here, let me just refresh this one. So now I will just grab all the data and hopefully we will see something. Okay. So you can see that my upgrades just went to version to number 2, and I have one environment which is active at this moment, and I know it from here. So I can see where my customer, which normally I would have named, has the app if they have on the production or if they have it on sandbox, what is the environment name, right? So I can see this customer, in fact, was trying it on 3 different environments, but on 2 of them, he already uninstalled it. But on this one, he still have this install, right? So this is what I can see from here. I also can see where my customers are installing our app. And trust me, sandbox is something which is rarely used. A lot of demo environment is on production, so it's quite also nice to see where people are doing that. And you can see that on the sandbox, my customer has this version 1.002, which we just upgraded, right? So this is how I can see it. On the map, I can see which Azure data center. At least I hope this is Azure data center, because it's not where I am at this moment. It's where my tenant is. I use the US sandbox, and that's why I have a US here in the country, right? I've seen it that some countries have their own local data centers, right? So at this moment, I can contact the customer and say, look, hey, we have a new app. It has really nice features, and you can update it. And very often when one of our colleagues is doing that, next day we see that someone just updated the app. So it's really great to see that. We also see if someone is really still using the app, right? If maybe not if he's using, but if he still have it. The one thing which we don't have, and I need to tell you that if someone will delete the environment, you will not know about it, right? That there is no way to know about it. At least I don't know any. So that's where we can see who is using, how many installations. Do they install? Do they upgrade? Do they uninstall the apps? And how many customers we have? So let me go back. So the second thing is custom telemetry. We would like to know how they are using app, where they are with the setup. And we have 2 things for that. The one is that we can send the custom metrics. And the second is that from version 19.1, and you cannot do validation before, is a feature telemetry. And the feature telemetry can tell us if someone discovered the app or feature, if someone set the feature, and also if someone used the feature, right? So you can track it. And there is also a possibility to log the errors, right? So when they using that. So let me go to the demo again, but this time we will go and start with something else. We will start to show. I will start with showing you the code. So the first thing is I have my telemetry management code unit, and in this case, this is the app which at some point I hope I will put on app source under my name. But that's allowing to do the translation. So I would like to know if someone used the app, used the translation, right? So how many translations they have for item translation and so on. To do that, we need to subscribe to the event which is called Telemetry Management, and there is a on send daily telemetry, which, as you may think, do exactly what it's doing. It's sending the telemetry using the job queue, which we will run in a second. But I encourage you also to see how many data is also sent in the standard Business Central with this event subscriber. So what we can do and how we can do it, we can send the activity telemetry. One thing which we need to do is assign the number to our event, because this is our own event. I call it easy translation. That's why you see ET in this case. But remember that in application insight, you will see ALET001. So I'm sending how many items translation, item attributes, and so on, someone has. Of course, those below also I'm sending the company name, and I know that it will be also at some point in the message which Microsoft is sending. Maybe it's already there, but you can send other things as well, right? So there is a dictionary text to text, which allows you to send many parameters, right? I'm sending each parameter with the different signal, but you also can combine everything in one signal if it's making sense for you, right? So I'm getting the records, I have that, and how I can run it. To run it, and let me go to Business Central. So to run it, in fact, there is a job queue, which is standard Business Central job queue. You cannot delete it anyway, it will be created, and you can just run it. So I will run it once. So after all of that, if we will go to the traces, probably we will not get yet at the traces, but let me just I needed to do this, where T, T, right? So is there maybe I don't know if I, oops, just do it like this. I think I've seen some traces there, so. Okay, it was more than 1 hour ago. So you can see that, for example, in this database, I have already 4 translations, and that's something which I'm sending every time when the telemetry for Business Central is also sent. So every time the value grows. And just not to take your time to all the behind scenes, this is what I can get at the end for my customers, right? So I can see my signals, which normally they have some names for me. For the presentation, I didn't use it. But I also can see how much my customer is using that. So I can see if they are using the translations, or if they are not using the translation, for example, for the items I have probably here, right? So that's something which I can know from here. But there is one more thing which I would like to see. I would like to know when they were using that, because maybe they did it once and that's all, right? They didn't need to do it again. But imagine that you have some custom table, which is, for example, documents or some master data, and you would like to see how they are progressing. If they already created 100, for example, customers, or 100 customer contracts, for example, maybe already there, maybe later they didn't do anything, right? So why they didn't do anything? They already create all of them, or maybe they stopped using it, right? So this is all which you can see from those custom telemetry to see what feature, what maybe not feature, because I will show you it in a second, but what areas of your system they are using, right? So this is something which you can do. And if you are VAR, the same, you can do a very similar thing, because maybe you would like to see, okay, today we, this period of implementation, we focus on sales, let's do sales, and we can also progress how much they're using, how many posted sales orders they have, and so on. So there is a lot of information which you can do, which you can get from that. And there is a second one, Telemetry, as I said, it's version 19.1, so very fresh one, is that you can put in your code some things which says you if someone's discovered the feature, if someone set the feature, and if someone used the feature. That also can give you the point where they are in the onboarding of your app, in Business Central in general, which you would like to track. I'm using the same number of event in this case. I mean, for all the things, so taking, using the app or discovering the app, it's called a log uptake, and you need to specify if it's a discovery, if it's a setup, or if it's a use, right? So this is how you can do, and how we use that. If we will go to a place where I put this, so let me just show the. So, for example, I use this one. I hope it will show something. No, it don't like to need to show something. The setup I added on the setup page, right? If someone pull all the fields over the setup, everything, then I just put that. And discover if someone just opened the page. So at the end, I can say, okay, where are you, my customer? Have you discovered this feature? Have you already set up it? Or maybe you already use it? So I can see each company, even on my customer, they all discover that, yes. 2 of them set up it, this one no. And one of the company used that, and more than once. But those 2, they didn't. So, okay, he discovered, set up. So maybe we little should push him and show how to use it. And maybe we should ask this company why they don't use it. We think that they should use it, but they didn't. Right? So, but there is another case which you can use is, do my customers use the feature? If they are not using, maybe we shouldn't care about this feature. Maybe we should remove it from the system to make less complex system. That's also can be a case. You have, let's say, app for 1 year. You think this is a great feature. You invest thousands of dollars on that, and it turns out that no one is using it, right? So either you need to promote it better, and you can know it from here that, okay, or you can say, okay, sorry, we didn't, no one is using that, right? And the same as we had with the custom telemetry, custom signals, I have 4 features here as well, when someone just click and use it, right? So I'm able to say, okay, what is the frequency of using this feature? Are they using it 1 per year, 1 per month, 1 per week? That can also be very, very a value to make a decision what to do with some feature. Let me go a little faster because, of course, I can talk about the telemetry of hours. So the next thing which I really see usable for my case is on which devices users are using the pages, which pages they are using, right? Where they see it, very important, right? Which reports they are using. That also can give me, do we need it? Do we need those features in the system? And here, I would like to show you, before I will jump to Power BI, but I would like to show you the real case, which we agreed to show with Ulrich, is you can see where exactly are the customers, right? From which countries they are, where they are logging to Business Central. Right? Some of those countries for us were really surprised, and you can see if the customers using them on tablet or on phone, on desktop client. That was also for us something very very important. Right? We also can see, do we need to translate our app, right? Because we can see that most of the people using English, right? But a lot of people are using French as well. So that's something which we really see that, okay, which language you will get next one? Maybe Czech language, right? Maybe, but from this we clearly see that we should care about the French language, right? So this is all what you can see, and also you can see how people using the app, the pages which you have, and ISVs can see only their pages, but VARs can see everything. So imagine that you can see which pages your customers are opening, and you can think, okay, have we did with them set up for customers or vendors? If not, either they did it by themselves, right? Or we maybe can contact with them and try to sell them training and so on.
Krzysztof, this is a very nice example, I think. A question coming to my mind is, as you said, you were quite surprised with some of the information you got through this. Did that make lead to other decisions already on how to continue with the app?
Yeah, I will present you the second one. So this is something which you can get directly from Application Insight. I cannot get it in Power BI, but in this one you can see the flow of your customers, right? Where users, where they are going. So in our case, we use the page which is called Asset Tree, showing the assets on the tree, and we see where they are going next, right? Where they are doing, what they are doing next, right? And I will tell you, we really use that because, okay, they creating the work orders. So let's help them with that. Let's create for them some links, some features, how we can do it. But I will even give you the more broad example. We had a page which was related to the licensing. That was the first page which you should open. And we discovered that quite a lot of people were leaving our app after seeing this page. So we say, okay, what we can do to make it better? We redesigned the whole page, right? We redesigned how they are registering. And we also invest marketing time to show what they can do, right? We thought everything is fine from development perspective, everything worked, right? But it wasn't so much usable for users. So after those changes which have been done, we seen from exact this view, but for the different page, that more customers are registering through the through Business Central than we had it before, right? So small change, one page, but it had a big impact for us.
Yeah, great.
Right,
great.
and we really seen it from here.
Great to know. By the way, do you have an eye on time? We have 7 minutes.
Yes,
left.
7 minutes. So
there are no questions so far. So I think you're
okay.
Very clear in what you're showing.
So because we have 7 minutes, I will very quickly go here because pages you already seen, but also very similar you can see with the reports. So you can see the report, how much time it take, how many times people were using it, how much records per use they generated, right? And how many records in total, the maximum number of records, right? So this one also is something which I like because it shows me, do we should invest in reports, right, or not, right? Do people still printing the reports in Business Central, right? And I can tell you that I already see one report which maybe we don't need to invest more in it because it's not used so much as I would suppose, right? But that's also showing you can also see if they are using it every month, every week, and so on, right? So quite a lot of things. Okay, but just last thing which I would like to or maybe not last thing, but one thing which I would like to talk to you is the notification for you. If you are
if I may interfere, there's one question regarding, let's say, in this case, page view. Going a little bit back from Peter Konijn, can you view page views in an on-prem installation as well, or is it only cloud-based?
Only cloud-based. That I remember. It's only for cloud-based.
Clear. Thank you.
Okay, so React quicker. That's something which helps us a lot. Unfortunately, even today, I had a case which I needed to use. So what you can know about the notifications. First, you can set up notifications inside application inside. But I don't like this, right? It's not that it's not working. Everything works there perfectly, right? But I prefer to use Power Automate for that. And why? Because I can do more. I can, if someone will say, I would like to send an email, fine. If I will send, if I would like to send a Teams message, fine. If I would like to create automatic Azure DevOps task, that's also can do with the Power Automate. So what I'm sending on daily basis, new installations, 1 per day. So I see that, okay, today 5 people install our app. Or update, that's also what I see. Daily installation, so this one I want to see every 15 minutes, in fact. And based on that, we react today about some issue. And the VARs can also use it for sending the job queues, right? So I will not go through Power Automate, and that's not because I don't want, but I just, we don't have time. But let me just open one thing which I would like to show you is such email. This is for my job queue, right, which failed. And I can see here that, okay, which company, in fact, it failed, and what is the code unit number, and so on. The one thing which I cannot see, and of course I see the status at the end, the one thing which I cannot see is you cannot see the error message. As I said, this is due to the GDPR, so sorry, we cannot see it, but there's a way to get it, and I will write about this on the blog. We also will get an error in this, but this is what you can also build. And saying that, and just on time, I would like to give you that all, right? Everything what you've seen today, you can download and you can set up by yourself, right? So there is a small form which you can use, and you will get after that the link from me, where you can see all those flows and instruction how to set up all of that, right? And I'm not gathering all the data. I'm just getting this email from you because I would like just to know who is using that. But all of that you can, in fact, use for free. That's those dashboards are my personal thing which you can use. And I know it's working. We set up it with 2 partners. One of them was doing it by himself, and it took him 2 hours to work and to do all that stuff. So let me just only one last minute, I hope.
Almost, wow.
Almost. So the last minute, you will see such a folder, and you will see also the instruction and all the flows which you just need to put to your Power Automate. But I need to warn you, you need to have a paid version of Power Automate, so premium plan. But not this one, sorry. This one, what I wanted to show you is that you will find the whole instruction how to do it, what table storage you need to create, and so on, so on. So hopefully that will be useful for you, right? And you can also start in 2 hours and got all those signals. Right?
That's a nice gift of you.
I need to say, today is my birthday, so this is my gift for you for my birthday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
We're at the hour, so actually stopping, and Peter Konijn is also writing down happy birthday. There were no other questions, Krzysztof, so well done, you could say. Thank you very much. And
I hope you all enjoyed.
And yes, happy birthday. Let's say, oh yeah, Sasha Herman was also exclaiming happy birthday for you. We're going to close down. Thank you, everybody. If there's really a question, of course, you could always put it down on underneath the recording on YouTube when it's there. And if you know where to find me, and probably also where to find Krzysztof. So I think it was very clear. I was also felt motivated in many aspects of really need to pick this up. So thank you very much, Krzysztof. So everybody, yeah, have a happy birthday with Krzysztof. Enjoy the evening, enjoy the rest of the day, or have a good sleep if you're already that late. And we're going to meet probably on the 1st of February, where Michael Nielsen will be presenter. Okay, I'm going to. Sorry?
Thank you a lot.
Yeah, you too. So, going to close down everything. Bye, everybody, and see you next time.